Hey everybody, this is Josh with Late Start Piano. Today's video will be talking about Hanon exercises, whether or not you should do them, and if you should, how so. So I've been hearing a lot of controversy here about Hanon exercises, whether they are outdated, if they're still relevant, do they actually help you, do they not help you, things like that. And the short answer is yes, they do help you, but you need to do them a specific way. Just like all of your practice sessions, you want to be doing your practicing correctly. You don't want to just be doing random stuff, trying things out necessarily all the time. You want to be able to know what you're doing so that you can lock down in your practice session and you can get the most out of it. So, same goes with the hand exercises. For those of you not familiar, it's similar to scales, right? You have this certain pattern, and then you go back down. And that's for both hands. And there's a ton of different variations on them, so that's just one example. But you can do that for both hands. And again, like I said, there's a lot of variations. So that's just one example of a Hanon exercise. I actually have one right here. This is great if you're a beginner. It's called Easy Hanon, and it has a whole bunch of different exercises that you can use. It's 24, 27 different exercises. And I don't know if you can see that, but towards the end there, it gets back to the dual hands, and you're going in eighth notes all the way up and down the piano. And it even tells you what you're working on, like this one's for the third, fourth, and fifth fingers. This exercise is for trills. This one's for all five fingers. This one's for stretching of the fourth and fifth. All five fingers again, preparing for trills, second and third, trills for the third and fourth. So this is a great book here, something my piano teacher had recommended I get. But the thing with hand exercises is you don't want to be super stiff when you do them. So you don't want to be doing these exercises and you're not moving your hand at all. You don't want your fingers to be doing all of the work. Okay, that's where a lot of people go wrong with the hand exercises, is they're not moving, they're not doing the arm circles, they're not going in the piano, out the piano, they're not having any kind of motion. So even this way, like if you're going up in the right hand, you can see where you can make this wrist rotation. Okay, so it's like you're swooping down and up when you're ascending with the right hand. When you're descending with the right hand, it's the opposite, right? You go kind of up and over, down on the thumb. If you're just going straight fingers like this, you're working so much harder than you need to be, for one. And so they're going to be a lot smoother and easier for you if you have your full, you got the wrist circles going on, you're also moving your elbow up and down the piano with it. And you're even going in the piano once you get to that fifth finger. Like, see how I'm going towards the piano board? This would be the piano board if you have a grand piano, or just towards the music stand if you have an electric piano like I do. On that fifth finger, you're going towards it. And then as you go to your thumb, you're moving kind of out. And then the pinky goes back in. Start with the thumb, move out, pinky goes back in. So you want this kind of motion because you don't want your fingers doing all the work. You want it to be free of any kind of tension, of any kind of, extra work that you might be doing. And you can also cause injury. That's how you get things like tendonitis in your hand as well. And you get carpal tunnel syndrome as well if you're not moving your wrists the way that it should be moved. So just something to keep in mind here. Yes, hand exercises do work, but you need to be fluid with it. You need to be free of tension. You need to have that loose wrist, that kind of floppy wrist. You need to be moving your elbow, moving your wrist in that circular motion. You don't just want to be doing fingers only. That's where people run into a lot of issues, because you can't actually strengthen your fingers, right? And that's been the common misconception, is that you need to strengthen your fingers, especially like your fifth finger, your pinky. You have to strengthen that, right? Your fingers don't have muscles. It's not like you can lift weights and your finger's going to get bigger because there's no muscles in your finger. Okay, it's all tendons. And that's why when you're only using your fingers like that, it causes a lot of stress because they're working overtime. You're trying to use them like muscles when they're not actually muscles. That's not what they should be doing. You should be letting your wrist, your elbow, your forearm that actually have muscles in those locations, you can let those do the work of the big movements, and your fingers should be very loose, not very tense, and they just kind of, you're using your arm weight and your finger is just the extension piece that you're hitting the note with, but the work is not in your fingers. So keep that in mind next time you're doing Hanon exercises. My name is Josh with Late Start Piano.